All right, welcome everybody back to the Dragons Fan Guy podcast, episode 6 for 2023, with special guest Proenzo vidz. But as I'd just like to make a quick mention before the show, I will be doing another show at Jamboree Pub on the 5th of August. If anybody would like to go, ticket information will be in the description of this video. But welcome, Proenzo, and good to have you on again, mate. I know I was on your podcast last night. I
Yeah,
think it was last night. My
yeah,
memory's not that bad, so it was good to have you. It's a privilege to have you on again. So
yeah. No, mate. Thanks for inviting me on the podcast. Obviously last week we were scheduled to do it, but I was unavailable. So, but
yeah,
it's
that's
good.
all good. Yep, it's
But
all good.
it's good to have it back this time around. I'm looking forward to seeing how the podcast goes over time, and yeah, I'm just happy to be on tonight.
Yep, we'll get these questions to start and now. And can you see that?
Yeah, all clear.
So I'll put this one in. So I think that there should be a rule where all 17 players must play in the game or get more than 2 minutes. What do you think?
So, should there be a rule where all 17 players must play the game and get more than 2 minutes? I mean, that's a tough one because it depends what the player's role is in the team. Because if you're like a utility, for example, and you only come on when there's injuries, you don't play at all because there could be a chance there's no injuries to that side. But um, yeah, I think there'll be it's probably a good thing for all players to play minutes. Obviously, may not play for long, but if it's more than 2 minutes, and that's a pass mark in my opinion. But yeah, I don't know. It depends how the game goes.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, but it's a hard one. But I just wanted a different opinion about it. I was thinking that it should be maybe not the utility, maybe not the 14, but the other players that are on the bench. Because we saw with Gufferson that he only got a couple of minutes and was pretty much useless.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's sometimes just sad for some players who don't get any chance. Because I think who was it for the Titans? Was it Atlick? I think his name is.
Jacob
Didn't
Alec,
play.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it should be something that maybe should be considered not for the utility but for the other players. I
Yeah.
think. All right, we'll get this. Now, this is one that we can have a good talk about because
Yeah.
we're both going to deal with this now. So if you'd like to start this conversation,
Yeah, so Isaac Moses, he's a very controversial player, agent that obviously has a lot of influence on clubs that he's known for ruining actually because his influence is too heavy at the one club. Um, Look, as we can see at Manly, he's bringing a lot of his clients over. Like our signings recently have been pretty much all from him or his same management, apart from Jake Arthur, like Cooper Johns, Tommy Talau, Ben Condon. I think also Shane Flanagan, Jim Dimica, also managed by Isaac Moses as well, and Luke Brooks too. So obviously there's a
and
lot of
Lodge,
Matt Lod. Yeah, that's another one. So obviously it's not too good because we've seen at the Broncos that when there's too many players managed by Moses at the one club, it seems to really bring clubs down because there's even nepotism, and Aaron Woods too. That's another one.
yep,
Um, and see, that's a good example of Aaron Woods because he keeps getting picked in the 17 every week because he's a Moses client. So, it's
yeah.
really like it's like Seabold's letting Moses's clients join the club or just play every week. Yeah, you've got to wonder who has more control, the coach or the manager. It's just bit of a mess at the moment.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of him, and I don't personally think he should be allowed to be a player manager, and I don't think a player manager in general should be allowed to coach the coaches
Oh,
as well.
yeah.
I don't think they should. I don't think it should be allowed, and I think he's up to no good. I think he's had trouble in the past with the Broncos and many clubs, and I know that a few of our players currently are contracted by him, and I mean Flanagan is as well.
Yeah,
But
he
I'm
is.
not a fan of him. Yeah, I think the NRL should do something about it personally.
I agree. Yeah, I think his influence is too toxic, and I'm surprised that the NRL hasn't stepped in already. To be honest.
Yeah, even if they can't stop players being managed by him, stop him managing coaches, and giving him less power. Because I agree that some of the players that are managed by him, if at clubs that if they weren't managed by him, they probably wouldn't be picked in the 17 each week. Personally,
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I agree.
I wouldn't be picking for you. I wouldn't be picking Woodsy, even though Woodsy's a nice guy. He's past his best. I wouldn't be picking him.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a list of players that I wouldn't be picking each week that you've got signed by him personally.
Yeah. Well, I think again, it's nepotism. It comes down to favoritism as well. Because I think Seabold's also managed by Moses. So
He is, yeah. I think it's like there's about 9, isn't it? 9 people at
yeah,
Manly, and I think there's a few at other clubs as well. But yeah, I'm just not been a fan of him since he came out, and I don't think he's got a great attitude as well.
no, not really.
All right, see if this one comes up.
Yeah,
I'll start this one off. All right, I'll start this off. So I was thinking about this with the Bulldogs, with all the signings they've made. I think they've signed too many players of recent, and I just want to get your opinion. If you think that the signings that they've signed for 24 will change them now, or do you think they're necessary?
Well, again, the Bulldogs are signing more players as the year goes by. It's just I don't know where their direction is really going because I thought they would be a bit more settled this year as they signed a heap of players again to I guess continue to their rebuild. But well, who they signed? They've signed Stephen Crime for next year, Bronson Jerry. Is there anyone else that was signed for next year?
Not at the moment, but I think the Bronson Sherry one's a bit of an odd one. I don't think he'll be playing first grade for a while.
Yeah. He'll take time, I think. And then Stephen Crine at fullback, which obviously is a good signing because he's a great player, but again, he's not a well-known fullback. He's still a bit of a mystery there, so I think that's a bit of a risk. But I think the Bulldogs need to just stay settled on the one squad instead of picking and changing, each year because I think they obviously want to get success straight away, which is fair enough. But you
can't buy a premiership though.
That's right. Can't buy a premiership, so it takes time to build clubs.
And I think they've brought too many outside backs. I think they've got too many centres and wingers that they've brought of recent as well. They've got a heap, way too many.
Absolutely.
That we probably won't even see because I think they've got Alamotti, they've got Perham. Who else do they got? Avarillo, Rillo, Burns. They've got Reese Hoffman as well, so they've just got a lot, and it's a confusing roster as well now with the halves, with Ockingball, with what's his name, Rajed and Carl and Oapu, and then they've been linked to a whole heap of other ones. I just think that they need to kind of keep the same squad for a while and develop some of the juniors they've got rather than just try to buy everybody from Penrith or just buy everybody they can. I don't know with their money situation, with the salary cap, I think it's a bit sus.
Yeah, for sure. No, for sure. I think it is a bit interesting how they can do all this. But I guess as well, Toby Sexton coming to the club, like they've already got.
He's been really good.
Yeah, he has been. They've got Beyond Yodo, they've got Burden, Rajab, they've got a few, and Bailey Hayward as well. So they've got a lot of halves depth, and Flanagan's still there, but he's going to go most likely, Cole. So yeah, I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, I don't know what direction they're really going in. It's a bit odd, but we'll move on to something that I think it's a better question. So, Proenzo, who is your favourite player of all time?
This is a very tough one because obviously I've got a heap of favourite players I've looked up to for like years and stuff like that. But
I got one for you, Lumi.
Lumi. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you can't go wrong with Lumi. I think he is. He might be top 3, but as for all time, I'm going to go with Brett Stewart. I can't go past the Snake. I think in his prime, he was a terrific player and was a champion fullback for many years at Manly. So I'd have to say Stewart.
I have to also. I would go James Graham in my personal opinion. He's been my favourite player of all time. Him and Blake Laurie and DeBellin for me. But yeah, you can't go wrong by Lumi. You've got to have him somewhere.
Yeah, he's on. Look, one day, mate, he'll be an immortal. I guarantee it.
Well, I think he's. To be honest, he's not that bad of a player, but I don't think he's that good. He's okay.
Oh.
He's.
Well, I think he's. I think he's the next GI. If I'm being honest.
We'll see. Well, maybe if you could see a little bit better, but we'll have to see.
He's got magic.
Yeah. All right. Let's see.
Ooh.
You want to start this one off?
So should there be 3 State of Origin from 3 games of Origin for the women's? You know what? I agree. I think there should be. I think there really should be. I think the women's game is getting stronger year by year, and I think instead of just that one game, and well, this year was 2, but obviously expanding to 3 will do their game better. I think. I think the way they're playing, it's like there needs to be more competition. So making it 3 games only makes it better, I reckon.
Yeah, it definitely does. Get me fixed. This is one that I can answer, and we might have a different opinion on this one, but here we go. I'll start this one off. I put in that. Do you think Zach Lomax should be a fullback or in the centres?
That's a tough one as well, but I think he's always been a centre. I think Dragons did try Zach Lomax a fullback in what year was it, 2020 or 2021? They tried him there for a bit, I think, and it just didn't work. Like, I don't think he's got that attack for a fullback. I mean, he's obviously got some good things about his game, but he's not a fullback. I think centre was the position he always grew up playing, so he should stay there. Yeah,
I definitely have him in the centres, but it's we'll see what Flanagan does. I guess different coach, but I'm not sure. I would play him in the centres definitely. I mean, when he played at fullback, he wasn't up to the same speed, and he was easily able to be picked out quite easily. But I think under Flanagan, Lomax should be a better player in general under a premiership winning coach, a bit more of an experienced coach and a proven coach. I think will do him good.
Yeah, no, it should 100%.
All right. So the other question I got for you, mate, you've got this favourite thing up. Who's your favourite Super League player? It can be this season or in general.
Well, obviously I'm a St. Helens supporter, so obviously I'll go with a Saints player. I reckon it's has
up the wire.
The Wire. Oh, they're not bad. I don't mind them actually, but if I was to pick one, I'll go with James Roby. I think James Roby, in my opinion, and this might be a big call to others, but I think he's the second best hooker to ever play rugby league. So I'm saying behind Cameron Smith, I reckon. So James Roby, if he did play in the NRL, I think more people would recognise how good of a player he was because he was smart, very skillful. He's part of the reason why Saints went on that 4 premiership winning run. So you can't deny what talent Roby has as a player, and he's an ultimate professional. So I'd say him.
I would have to agree with you. But he's just been terrific, and it's disappointing we've never got to see him in the NRL. I think he would
Yeah.
be a good fit for any NRL club. I don't wonder if he's actually ever received interest. I'm not even sure if I don't think he's ever been linked with a move to the NRL. I don't think, to my
Yeah,
knowledge,
I
I
wouldn't
don't.
think so. Oh, yeah, I wouldn't think so, but he should have.
Who has been your favourite player this season so far in the Super League?
In the Super League, well, I'd have to say, well, there's been a few underrated players that have come out of nowhere, but I reckon Brody Croft goes close to me as a neutral, but I would have to say for St Helens' sake, I reckon Johnny Lomax has been awesome this year. Like I think Johnny Lomax is still playing great footy to this day, and he's obviously getting older, but he's still showing his quality week in week out. So I'd say him.
I would have to have a mix between probably Roby and as well as Vaughan. Paul Vaughan, I think that they've been really good again. And I don't know if you reckon this will be Roby's last year. Do you reckon?
Yeah, I think so. I think there was actually talk that he'd retire, so I think so.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he didn't try to go another
Yeah.
year. See, I wonder how many games has he played now? Is it 400 or something? Isn't it? I think it's
It's like 500. I think it's a lot of games.
yeah. I would say hopefully he retires. Hopefully he doesn't. I don't say the wrong word, but yeah. So the other question I've got for you, mate, is do you think that Papua New Guinea should be where the 18th team comes from?
No, I don't. I don't believe that PNG should be the 18th side. I think their fan base is good because there's a lot of NRL fans from PNG, but as for just building a club around it, I don't think it works financially and just location wise. Apart from players like Justin Olam and Alex Johnson who do have PNG heritage, I don't see many players going over there to play footy and
No.
I guess or just joining that club in general. So no, I wouldn't go. I
Yeah.
wouldn't go with them.
Where do you see the 18th team coming from?
Well, earlier this year, I made a video about where I think the next 18th side should be, and that was another New Zealand team called the Wellington Orcas. I'm a big fan of that. Another New Zealand team, but I think they're looking at Perth. I reckon. I mean, I'm not that big in it, but I think Perth will be the next one.
Or do you see something like Newtown or the Bears coming back?
I don't really want to see another Newtown. I don't want to see like another Sydney club come in. I mean, Newtown did have some interest, but I think we need to move away from a Sydney club and expand more outwards. I think the Bears might come back and become the Perth Bears or something. That's what's been the talk of so far.
That wouldn't be a bad idea, but I don't know how much interest they're going to get, though, because Perth
Yeah.
isn't really much interest in the NRL. It's not a whole heap. So that actually runs up the questions because this was only going to be a quick show. But the last two questions I've got for you, mate, is in your opinion.
So who should be the New South Wales coach in 2024? Well, look, if Freddie does get sacked, and let's say he does get sacked, I reckon go with Danny Vidiris or Jeff Tuvey, I reckon. I think one of them two would be good for the Blues because obviously they've played for the state and done some great things for the Blue. So, if Freddie does go, which I wouldn't be shocked if he does, but I'd go with either Tuvey or Vidiris or maybe left field and go Ricky Stewart too.
I would throw a curveball at people, and I would say Craig Bellamy, if the Storm allowed him to. If the Storm allows him to, I think he'd be a good option.
Yeah, that's a good one too, actually.
All right, and the last question of the show, mate, is here we go. Players you think will be looking for a new club in 2024?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of players out there that need a new club. It feels like. I think one of them. I think a few of them are Kyle Flanagan. That's one that might need a new club and a new change. I think players like the Finery boys, who who are free agents need a new club too, as Manly are shopping them for no reason. I think, yeah, look, I don't know. There's a few players that might need a new club. I just don't know who. Depends who's off contract, I guess. But there'll definitely be some player movement in the off season.
All right. And the final question for the night, mate, is: do you think that NRL clubs should not be allowed to ban players, suspend players from matches if they miss the bus?
Well, that's a funny one because I think, even if you miss like a plane or well, you wouldn't miss a plane, but at least you don't have a passport to travel overseas or miss a bus. I think you cop a fine because I think that's probably the most fairest suspension you could get is a fine. But yeah, I don't think it affects game time, to be honest. Like that's just me.
No. All right. And thank you very much, Proenzo, for joining just for the quick podcast. Next time we have you on, it will be a full podcast once I've got everything fixed up and I have a new co-host. We'll be having a co-host joining me so as well. So we'll get you on when I've got all of that and just different things sorted. Just to let everybody know that I will actually be having about 2 months off from doing any podcasting and videos just due to a family problem and with leaving school. So I won't be doing anything for about 2 months, but I will be posting on Instagram, just won't be doing any podcasts. So once that's sorted, mate, I'll get you on the new and updated version.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get you on after that. But thank you for joining, and hope everybody at home is safe and well, and hope you're well, Proenzo, and wish you the very best, mate.
Yeah, Dragons fan guy, thanks again, mate. It was a good show. It may have been quick, but it was good to, I guess, talk about what you wanted to talk about today. So I appreciate it.
Yep. All right. Thanks, Proenzo.